Alright, so hi there. Thank you for checking out my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. This video is part of a series of videos I'm posting to try to help people out when it comes to aptitude tests like the civil service exam, UPCAT, and all of those other tests. If you're not yet part of Team Laika, you can go to www.facebook.com/teamlaika. That is where you can reach me, find out kung ano yung mga review materials available, find out kung kailan yung mga review events that we're holding, and also if you have requests or comments or anything like that, you can reach me through that page. Now, today we're going to talk about another topic sa math. Okay? Na ito yung laging nire-request sa akin. So this is part 1 of my series on percentages. So we're going to talk about percentages kasi people are not too comfortable with percentages, mainly because they are also not comfortable with decimals. Kasi ang percentage, ang concept ng percentage and decimals are the same. Kasi ang percentage basically means that you are going to move the decimal point ng percentage na yon twice to the left, to the right, to the left. Okay? Magiging decimal siya. For example, if we're talking about 15%, you don't, if you multiply a number with 15%, you're not going to multiply it by 15. Instead, you're going to multiply it by 0.15. Kasi yung 15.0, i-move mo yung decimal place 1, 2 decimal places to the left. Magiging decimal siya. So, today we're going to talk about the basics of percentages. I'm going to teach you how I calculate for percentages, kind of estimate things para mas mabilis instead of multiplying it ng long cut. But again, this is just the first part. So, I'm going to explain that to you through my PC right here. So I'm going to switch over there so I can explain it to you better.
Okay, so this is part 1 ng percentages, and today we're going to talk about yung mga ganitong klaseng problem. So sabi, 55% of 80 is, or actually kahit hindi ito, when it comes to any percentage question, including those na when it comes to alam niyo yung interest problems, which is going to come up in a video really soon, so don't forget to click subscribe para malaman ninyo when it posts. We're going to talk about percentage, paano siya kukunin really quickly. Okay? Now, one thing that you have to understand when it comes to percentages is that madali lang naman talaga siya. Huwag niyo kayong matatakot dahil lang percent siya. Okay? So, you can actually compute for ano yung sagot dito, a number of ways. The first way would be yung traditional method. Ang traditional method is, first of all, figuring out kung ibig sabihin ng 55%. Okay? Now, when we talk about percentages, ang basically, ang ibig sabihin niya lang is that you will move the decimal place twice. 1, 2. Okay? So, ang 55% is equivalent yan sa 0.55. Okay? Kung decimal siya. And then, what you do is you change off to times. So, it's going to be 0.55 times 80 is equals, kasi ang is means equals, and then hinahanap natin ito. So again, you can multiply it ng ganyan. Okay? So 80 times 0.55. However, in my experience, people have a hard time solving this kasi nga may mga decimals na pinag-uusapan. So in order for me to move this, kailangan move ko rin yung back, yung mga ganun-ganun, move na ganyan. And people can get a little bit confused dyan. So, I will offer another suggestion. This is the faster way, I think. This is how I do it. So, ang second option you would be doing this. So, sabi ang 80 daw, ang hinahanap natin is 55% niya. Okay? And in order for me to know kung ano yung 55% niya, I'm going to split 55 sa numbers na madaling i-compute. So, ang 55 can be 50 plus 5, tama? So, meron kang 50% plus 5%. Bakit siya madali? Kasi ang 50% is 1/2, right? It's kalahati lang. So, kaya kong i-mental yung 80 times 50% or kalahati ng 80. So, ang kalahati ng 80 is just 40, right? So, ang 40, yan yung 50%. Okay? So, meron ka na agad 40. Now, the next question would be, ilan naman yung 5%? If you look at this, you can think of it this way. Hindi ba ang 50 at saka 5 magkahawig? Kaya lang dadagdagan mo lang ng isang 0. So, ibig sabihin nun, ang 5% ay mas maliit lang ng 10 sa 50%. So, what you could do would be to find kung ano yung 5%, babawasan mo lang ng 0 yung 40 or i-move mo yung decimal place ng isang beses. So, ang 5% is 4. So, the answer to 55% of 80 is just 40%. 4. Instead of going through this entire thing na i-multiply mo pa siya. Because you will still come up with the same answer. Okay? So again, ang gagawin mo would be i-break down ninyo yung percentage into chunks na madali ninyong ma-mental, and then add them, and then add nyo rin yung mga lumabas at makukuha nyo na yung sagot. Okay? So let's try another example right here. So it says, ang hinahanap naman is 35% of 350. So again, if you want to solve it traditionally, it would be 0.35 times 350. Okay? But again, if you use the method, you can say na ang 350 kasi, okay, ang hinahanap natin is 35%. Right? And para madali lang siyang i-break down, you can do a number of things. You can do either 25 and 10, right? Kasi 25 plus 10 is equal to 35. Or pwede rin na, kung 35%, pwede rin 10, 10, 10, and 5. So either way, kahit anong gusto nyo gawin, you can do whatever fits your technique. So kahit anong gusto niyo mas madali. So dito muna tayo sa 25 and 10. Okay? So ang 25% kasi, right, is 1/4. Okay? Ibig sabihin, I can just find kung ano yung 1/4 ng 350, or you can also think of it this way, kabilang side naman. Ang 350 kasi is made up of tatlong 100 at saka isang 50, right? And if you know your math, ang 25% ng 100 is 25. So meron ka, ibig sabihin na tatlong 25 at isang, dahil 50 lang, ang 50 ay kalahati ng 100, isang kalahati ng 25, which is 12.5. So dito, meron ka ng 75 plus 12.5, which is going to be 87.5. Yun yung 25% ng 350. So, meron ka ng 87.5, tapos meron ka pang 10% na natitirang kulang. So, again, ang 10%, i-move mo lang yung decimal place na isang beses. If you go to church and you give your tithe, you'd master this. Ang tithe kasi is 10% of whatever you earned. So, i-move mo lang yung decimal place na isang beses pa left at makukuha mo na yung 10%. So, ang 10% is 35. So, ang 35% would be 87.5 plus 35, which is going to be, again, 0.5. Pwede mong i-long cut, 9, 12, 122.5. Okay? So, I think it's still a lot faster than solving yung 0.35 times 350. Okay? Kasi maraming carry-carry yan, balik-balik-balik, and ilang layers yan. Okay? Now, if you want to choose this route naman na 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5, pwede rin. Okay? Kasi, kung 350 ang pinag-uusapan, okay, again, ang 10% niyan would be, i-move mo lang yung 0 ng isang beses. So, that is 35, 35, 35, and yung 5, okay, may natitira ka pa kasing 5%, pwede mo kalahatiin to, tapos i-move ng isang decimal place. Or, better yet, di ba ang 5 ay times 2? Niya magiging 10. So, ibig sabihin, para makuha mo yung 5, ang 35 ay 10, kakalahatiin mo siya para makuha mo yung 5%, which will give you 17.5. And then, you can add it pababa. So, this is 90 plus 15, 105, plus 17.5. The answer would still be 122.5. So, again, it doesn't matter kung saan kayo dadaan, kung ano yung mas madali i-mental sa inyo, that is where you go. Okay? Another example. Okay, so here's what you can do. You can hit pause and try it out for yourself, and then i-unpause ninyo so you can check kung tama yung sagot ninyo. Okay? So you can hit pause now. Alright, so tingnan natin if you got it right. Alright? So meron ka ng 16.4 at ang hinahanap natin is 66%. So again, you can do this a number of ways. Ako, I choose to get agad yung biggest chunk, which is meron ka agad 50, meron kang 10, and meron kang 6. Okay? Yung 6 complicated pa siya, so pwede mong gawing 5 and 1. Okay? And then this way, you can solve it right away. Kasi ang 50% ng 16.4 is kalahati niya, which is going to be 8.2. Yun yung 1/2. And then yung 10% niya is just to move the decimal place again, one step to the left. So meron kang 1.64. Yung 5% is kalahati ng 10. So, ikakalahatiin mo ito. So, magiging 0.82. Okay? Or, dahil meron kang 50%, i-move mo again yung decimal place ng 50 naman ng isang beses pa, left din siya. Magiging 0.82 rin. Pareho pa rin naman ang sagot. And then you have 1. Okay? Yung 1% naman, di ba, again, times 10 niya, magiging 10. So, pwede mo rin i-move yung decimal place naman ito to the left din ng isang beses. So, you would have 0.164. And then, you can just add all of these para makuha niyo yung sagot. So, meron kang 4, tas chunking, 10, 12, and then chunking uli, meron kang 10 agad doon, 18, and then 10. So, ang answer is 10.824. So, 10.824 ang sagot. That is if you choose this. Okay? Again, you can also choose to make anim na 10, and isang 5, and isang 1. Or kahit anong gusto ninyong gawin. Pero the answer should still be the same. Okay?
Right, so I hope you learned something new today. If you did, please click thumbs up. And I'm going to talk to you about percentages a little bit more on my next video. On my next video, we're going to talk about yung mga, 25 is blank percent of 100, yung mga ganong klaseng tanong, and how you can calculate yung sagot sa mga ganong tanong. So if you want to watch that video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel para malaman ninyo as soon as that new video posts. You can click right here to see the entire playlist of videos I already posted. And I hope that you develop this attitude of learning. Percentages may not be easy, but you can find it easy as you practice throughout time. So thanks guys, and God bless. Happy learning. Aja, kaya niyan. And see you on my next video.